13 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning here at KSJE 90.9 FM, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thank you for joining us this morning. A special good welcome to our viewers who are watching us this morning on the KSJE channel on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. And coming up in just a moment, I'll be talking with my guests from the Farmington Public Library about the Four Corners Storytelling Festival, which starts in earnest tomorrow and again on Saturday. Down at Burke Park and also at the Tota Theater. Later on this morning, we'll also check in on the economy with my guest from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. Don't forget, 9 a.m., it's Roving with the Arts with Mick Hess, and today Mick will be playing for us Haydn Symphony No. 75. That's coming up today on Roving with the Arts at 9. And skip ahead to noon, it's our local movie review program, A Review Too Far, and this week, our movie reviewers are talking about the new film Venom. You'll hear about that today at noon on KSJE. You can always check out our programming schedule by going to our website at ksje.com. That's also where you'll find our regional events calendar. And again, the events on our calendar include the ones that you see on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube this morning. The Beyond Words art exhibit continuing here at the San Juan College Henderson Fine Arts Center Gallery. Doghead is being performed in the Little Theater on October 12th. That'll be tomorrow. And there's an Astro Friday this week on October 12th about galaxies at the San Juan College Planetarium. Just some of the many events you will see on our regional events calendar at ksje.com. Well, as I mentioned, my guests here in the studio from the Farmington Public Library and talking about the Four Corners Storytelling Festival, one of our favorite events here. KSJE is a proud sponsor of the festival once again this year. Jenny Lee Ryan is here from the Farmington Public Library. Good morning.
Good morning. Did you get the festival on the calendar too?
Yes.
On your KSJ? Okay, just making sure.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, it's there.
I'm distracted by all your fancy gadgets here.
Aren't you? Yeah, there's a lot going on in the studio, right?
Yeah,
this is visual radio, so it's the future.
The future is now.
It is. So welcome. This is your first time.
This is my first time in the new studio.
In the new studio.
I'm freaked out.
Don't be freaked out.
I'm freaking out, man.
It's okay. It's all right. And hopefully our other guest is not freaked out. That is one of our storytellers who's here this year. Sunny Dooley is here. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it's A.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome to KSJE and our visual radio studio. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much.
Are you freaked out?
Yes.
Are you more freaked out from Jenny Lee or from the studio?
Both of you?
Okay.
All of you?
All right, there you go. I think that's a fair, accurate answer. So.
You know, I only have one job during the festival, and it's don't freak out the tellers, so already
failed.
I have failed.
Hashtag fail. There you are. Well, anyways, it's good to have you both here to talk about the festival. As I mentioned, one of my favorite events of the year, and it's coming up, of course, tomorrow and on Saturday, once again at Burke Park, correct?
At Burke Park and the Tota Theater. Tomorrow we have a lot of school visits at the tents, but you're still welcome to join us. Just stop by the registration tent, and you can grab a wristband. It's absolutely free. That's the most important part. And it's a great way to see some of the tellers as they entertain the kids.
Right.
And then tomorrow night, it's bedtime stories at the Tota Theater at 5:30, so wear your jammies. And then ghost stories, or as Sunny and I were discussing, supernatural stories. So it'll be scary stories, and you know the Tota, the historic building.
There may or may not be ghosts around in the Tota. Who knows?
We don't speak of things we don't want to appear. So.
All right. Okay, just saying.
And then Saturday,
yes.
We'll be back in the tents. It'll be kind of a lighter crowd. The weather should be great. Come on out and join us. You can. The best thing about the festival is you can make it whatever you want. You can find your favorite teller and follow them around, or you can stay in one tent and just get a sampling of a lot of different tellers. We've got some great tellers this year, and then we're going to wrap it all up Saturday night at the Tota at 6:30 with the finale.
The grand finale, right?
The grand finale, your last chance to hear a story from each one of our tellers.
Very exciting, and we're showing the tellers on our screen this morning if you're watching on YouTube, and you can see the tellers that will be a part of this year's festival. We'll talk about them in just a moment, but Sunny Dooley, since you are here live and in person with us this morning, talk to me a little bit about your storytelling. You are a New Mexico native. You're not from too far away in Vanderwagen.
No, I live in Vanderwagen, which is a 2-hour drive south here.
Right.
Of
in the Gallup area.
Past.
Yeah.
near Zuni.
Okay.
I'm 7 miles from Zuni. So.
I consider it the Gallup metropolitan area. Would include Vanderweg.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Well, never mind. All right. Well, okay.
You are wrong.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Noted.
I've been telling for 35 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a number of years. I would like to say that I probably was one of the first Navajo storytellers to tell Navajo stories without an intermediary interpreter.
Right.
To tell stories. I was raised in stories, and so I started storytelling in 1983, and then took a 10-year break to educate myself, get a real job.
Right, right.
And then at some point in time, when my parents both started having chronic health issues, storytelling was a wonderful way to keep my living.
Right.
And but it did take 3 years to get cultural permission to tell stories publicly, because Navajo stories were only told within the context of immediate family, extended family, and then every so often the clan family. So if you don't mind, I'd like to say my clans. And
Please do. Yes,
okay,
of course.
thank you.
You bet.
Sheya twadik onje de nenishle do trabaha bashichin do kia ani dashiche do tsanhabili dashinale do ndischit belnal zestades abarata iyanasha do twadich itni do bimpetwani do tsensakani do ogedine edad epidishne. So that's an extension of greetings to my clan families. Every Navajo person has 4. They're matrilineal clans and they're patrilineal clans, 2 on each side.
Very good.
So I hope, and I extend the invitation to all of the Diné people that live in the Four Corners region to come and see the Four Corners Storytelling Festival. And I don't really remember how many times I've been here, Ginny. Do you remember?
The last time, the only reason I remember that my very first storytelling festival with the library was 2005.
Okay.
And you were here then.
Yeah.
So I remember you were here then, and we haven't had you back since.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why.
Yeah. So 15,
Okay.
16, 17. So 13 years ago was the last time I was here.
Wow.
But it's a marvelous storytelling festival.
It's a
really
great time. And, of course, there's so many great storytellers to choose from each and every year, so I know you mix it up by bringing in a great variety of tellers every year.
We do. This year we have Andy Offit-Irwin. He's back. He's kind of a crowd favorite. He does the fancy whistling, and he has his guitar, and he does all the fun stuff for the kids. I was telling Sonny, he tells us stories about Aunt Marguerite.
Right.
And he'll be in here tomorrow with me
Okay.
on KSJE. Then we also have Ann Rutherford, who I had the pleasure of meeting yesterday. She is delightful, and when we go to the schools today, she already asked, she said, is it okay if I ask for student volunteers to come up and help with my stories? So I think there's going to be a lot of audience participation. So, and then we have Lori and Omar Hansen. Mm-hmm. They are a married couple. They're both storytellers. So they're going to do some stories in tandem and some stories separately. So we kind of mix and match. So
Nice.
Today they're going out to the schools and they're going to be telling in tandem.
Right.
And then we have Sonny Dooley.
And Sonny, who's right here. Yeah.
That's it, right?
And that's it.
Okay.
That's
That's the whole lineup.
That is the lineup.
There it is.
Exactly. There she is, right there.
It's that having
on
the
screen.
couple and talking about them together throws me off, because I know I have 5 tellers, but 2 of them we
Right.
stuck together in the same picture, so
Exactly.
it's throwing me off a little bit. And it's early.
It is a little early, but not as early as last year.
No, thank goodness.
So, because the show's on at 8 now, so
Yeah.
there you are. But did all get started? As you mentioned, the tellers are kind of going out to the schools today, and then they'll be performing for the public tomorrow and Saturday.
Tomorrow and Saturday, yeah. So
And the schools are selected because of summer reading, correct?
because they participated in summer reading, the teachers came to the teacher orientation to find out about how to do, field trips to the library and library adventures, and about the resources that we have. So coming to the school is a reward, because when we made the festival free, it was with the thought that the schools had also had their budget cut, and they didn't have the budget to take school buses to the festival festival for
Sure.
3 days and that kind of thing. So that's when we kind of made our festival mobile on the first day.
Right.
And then some of the schools, the other reward is to be able to come to the festival tomorrow during school. So and see our youth tellers.
They're performing as well.
Yes, so tomorrow at Berg Park is when we're going to feature our youth tellers. These are local kids that you may know, and you can see them perform their stories. And we treat them like little rock stars, and they're just fabulous. We love having our youth tellers.
Nice. Very good. It is the Four Corners Storytelling Festival, everybody. It starts in earnest tomorrow at Berg Park. You've got 3 tents set up in the park right there at the intersection of Scott Avenue and San Juan Boulevard. KSJE has a sponsored tent.
Yes.
And there are 2 more.
There's 2 more. We have the San Juan, La Plata, and Animas tent. You are going to be in the La Plata tent.
Okay.
And when I was driving by to pick up Sunny, I saw the tent folks
going
are
up?
there. They're going
Okay.
up. It's happening.
It's happening. So that's
ready or not, we're having a festival.
very good. Okay. Excellent. And of course, folks can go and they can hang out in one tent. They can wander around. If they have a favorite teller, they can follow the teller to the different tents and things like that. It's pretty much fair game.
You can make the festival whatever you want it to be. So.
Excellent. Very good. Sunny Dooley, let me turn back to you and ask you a bit about your stories. And you mentioned the traditional Navajo stories, and it took you a while to get permission to kind of share those with others. But that's a big part of Navajo culture, is it not, storytelling?
It is. There's practically a story to everything, for everything, and we have so many stories that we don't really have a word for the person who tells the story. But there are 2 strands of stories. I would say there's the masculine stories and the feminine stories. And I tell the feminine stories, of course, and those stories were basically utilized for discipline and for instruction and to carry on many of the family traditions that we have instilled in all of our livelihoods and lifestyles.
Interesting. And am I correct in remembering that some stories in Navajo culture are only told at certain times of the year?
Yes, we tell our stories when these things happen. The first thing is that everything in our cornfields, corn, beans, and squash, have been harvested, and the cornfield has been prepared for winter. Second, we wait for frost. Third, we wait for the migration and hibernation of birds, animals, reptiles, and insects. And then fourth, we wait for the Yebiche ceremonies, the winter ceremonies, to start being performed. And last weekend was the Northern Navajo Fair in Shiprock, and they had the first Yebiche ceremony.
Right.
And so the landscape is prime now for storytelling. And then we tell stories of origin and creation all the way up to the first thunder. And that's usually sometimes as early as the end of December,
right,
and sometimes as late as March or April. And I would say in 2016, we didn't have a first thunder. And which was kind of unusual.
Right.
But that also was the first year that the black ants were still walking around on the surface of the earth on November 17th. Because I remember walking around outside, taking my observation of like, when should I start storytelling the winter stories? And the ants were still out. So obviously climate change is affecting the Navajo storytelling calendar.
Right. But it does follow those specific events that you mentioned then at certain times of the year.
And I'm really, really hoping this year we will have a deep freeze, because that's the other thing that hasn't really happened for the past 4 years. So our storytelling does take into account a lot of natural things, the ecology around us, taking into account the environment, so that we know when it's appropriate to tell stories.
Right. And again, these things have been passed down in Navajo culture for generations, right?
For generations and generations, yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. My guest from the Four Corners Storytelling Festival, as I mentioned, it begins on Friday and Saturday at Burke Park, and also evening events for free at the Tota Theater, downtown Farmington, correct, Jenny Lee Ryan?
That's correct. Tomorrow, you don't want to miss out bedtime stories at 5:30. We're going to be featuring Lori and Omar Hansen, and then ghost stories. The remainder of our tellers are going to tell scary and supernatural stories starting at 6:30 at the Tota Theater.
Okay. And there's no real age restrictions necessarily, but you kind of leave it up to parents to decide whether the little kids should come to the supernatural ghost stories.
It's totally up to you. If you think your 2-year-old can handle it, that is totally up to you. We do recommend it ages 13 and up, but we're not going to boot out the little kids because we trust parents to know what their kids can handle. I will say, I was talking with Ann Rutherford last night, and I told her, look, we want you to bring it. You know I say that every year.
You do say that every year.
Scare us.
Yes.
And she said, you know, I've got something that's really chilling that the kids just loved at the National Storytelling Festival, so I know Ann Rutherford's going to bring it.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been warned.
We have. That's
Yep.
true. Okay, very good. Well, let's take a short break, everybody. When we come back, more with my guests in just a moment right here, talking about the Four Corners Storytelling Festival right here on KSJE. Back with more in just a moment. The time is 8:29.